Hey there, I'm Magica, and in the last video we designed our region's Pokemon professor, and that was Professor Pines. It was a different video from what we usually do, but I loved the character design aspect of this whole process so much that I just had to make a whole video about it. Now in this video, we will go back to creating a new Fakemon, and I don't want to spoil much, so let's get into it. There were a lot of inspirations for this Pokemon line, the main two being Kuka, a monster/character well known in Brazilian folklore, and another was a category of Pokemon that I've noticed ever since Generation 3. And these are your Pokemons like Gardevoir, Lopunny, and Tinkaton that are really feminine and really powerful. And for Kuka, the first stage of this evolution line, I decided to take inspiration from two aspects of this Kuka character that are just huge in her myths and legends. For the first one, Kuka never sleeps, or at least she sleeps very rarely once in every 7 years. This, combined with the fact that she lives in forests and bogs of Brazil, is to scare misbehaving children into believing that Kuka would come out of the woods and take them away to eat them. And the second aspect that I decided to focus on, the fact that she's, well, a crocodile. And that's because a big part of her character and scariness is her reptilian characteristics. But this first stage still needed to be the cute one and not threatening at all. So I tried to have a few specific Pokemon as references, like Ralts, Gothita, and Hatena. Since the concept of the evolution lines, that is, being freakishly cute at the first stage and fierce at the last, if you know what I mean, will also inspire how I designed this entire line. And for making it cute, I decided to give a really small body with a big head and big eyes. And I hope that this contrast of small body/big head would help convey that it's a really weak and clumsy Pokemon. Another thing that I wanted to give her, that Kuka doesn't really have in her myths, was this huge crystal ball. Because I wanted to give her at least one witchy thing, since Kuka is also a witch. And for the last bit of her design, the colors, I did have an easier time. Since Kuka is just a green crocodile with blonde hair, the color scheme was already picked. So the only colors that I had left to pick were the ones for the crystal ball. I decided to make a bit showy, mixing the pink and the blue. Kuka, the unsleeping Pokemon. This solitary Pokemon is usually found in forests and bogs levitating on top of its crystal ball. It is said that this Pokemon only sleeps once every 7 years because all of its energy is focused on making its crystal float. For this next stage, I started giving her a more humanoid shape since this is the direction that this Pokemon usually go. This is also the stage that they start to get more personality, and while trying to give her more personality, I decided to pose her walking and making the crystal ball levitate, also showing that she has gotten better at controlling and using her powers. I also gave her more hair to make her look more and more like Kuka and give her a bit more personality too. I can already see her walking around and shaking her head. And since these evolution lines tend to be more humanoid looking, I decided to give her a little skirt to complement her look of the sassy child even more. As for colors, I decided to pretty much continue with the colors chosen for her last evolution. I usually like to do that to keep the character progression coherent. And I guess it's yet another thing that these lines have in common. And on this stage, there was a part of Kuka's myth that I wanted to make a bit more evident. And that was the fact that she steals, cooks, and eats children. So, I made the bone Kuka head on her hair a bit bigger and decided to make her carry it with her tail, almost as a warning. Of course, in the Pokemon world, it wouldn't be children's bones, right? Brulika, the Hex Pokemon. Brulika is a very friendly Pokemon, specifically to children. If this Pokemon is left unsupervised, it will take as many children as it can to the forests where it lives. The cause of this behavior is still unknown. For this last evolution, I decided that I wanted her to be as sassy and mean looking as possible, almost like a mean girl character. A lot of her came, of course, from the fact that Kuka is one of the biggest meanies out there. And when I was designing this last evolution, I had in mind Kuka from a kids TV show called Sítio do Pica-Pau Amarelo, where she was always wearing a red dress and causing hijinks on every episode. I also gave her a pose for my character that I love to hate from the anime Revolutionary Girl Utena. She's this character that is always mean-spirited and always has a funny laugh. And I thought that vibe would be perfect for a Pokemon like Kuka. Also, taking inspiration from Pokemon like Smoochum, I tried to give her cool looking hair that would reminisce Kuka's. But I'm not sure if it is too human or not. But then again, Jinx exists, so I also tried to take inspiration from Salazzle when I was coming up with the body. And to nod at the fact that Kuka is a witch in her stories, I gave Kuka a bone staff that her crystal ball is always floating in. I tried to show her growth with the crystal ball too. The idea is that her crystal stays the same size all throughout its evolution. So Kuka was so tiny that it had to lay on top of it, and Brulika was learning how to carry it. But now Kuka has mastery over it, using it to attack its opponents and maybe even give Gothitelle a run for her money as a new future vision Pokemon. I had a few other ideas for her, like bones floating around her and her crystal ball too, but I didn't have enough time to make that work. But still, I think Kuka deserves a spot at the girly pop Pokemon table. Kuka, the Crown Pokemon. There are many tales surrounding this powerful Pokemon, including the green one that they eat children who wander into the forest. None of those tales have been proven true, and they are to be believed to be just old folk tales to make children behave. And this is our new Fakemon line. What do you guys think? Do you like her? And what would you guys want for the next video? I am thinking of designing a legendary trio for the region, but what would you like to see? Another Pokemon, a legendary, a new character, or something else entirely? Let me know in the comments. And if you haven't already, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe so you don't miss out on any new Fakemon videos. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next one.